Hello, wonderful people. So, I just finished my session and I was like, whoa, it was good. I found some new information and I would like to stop everything and just like make a video and share what I found. So, like usually, my sessions are like, I listen to people. Well, okay, I have different sessions, but it's one of the cases where I listen to people's stories. I found out like key issues they have in life, and then by myself, like I sit and like get out of body and just scan through their life and like go through a lot of things and find information about what holds them back, what limits them, what causes the issues they have in their life. So in today's case, we have a person who has some issues regarding himself, like digesting food, like certain things. Been like it's not just like digesting food. The person has an issue where he has to eat right the specific amount. He cannot eat less or more because his body feels like dying. He's been close to like that anorexia and stuff. Like different things happened. Like a person has issues, and then like a lot of simple things can drive a person crazy. Like smallest things that can seem like, hey, it's nothing, don't worry, can drive the person crazy. So that being the thing, I was like, okay, let's see what causes these things. My first suspect is sanity, so I'm gonna start from that. Let's start from manatees, and it's like lots of things to talk about, lots of concepts, lots of theories of how things work, and I'm like, it's just amazing. And I mean, like, amazing to find that stuff out and like just confirm what I've been like looking for years and stuff like that. Anyway, um, wow, like if you look at your life, you might have certain issues in like regarding having anxiety, depression, sadness, maybe certain things, getting rageful and stuff like that. And that person, there were like tons of clusters that would make up one entire being. So it's not just like an empty cluster that will like, oh, it's all anxiety, it's all depression, it's all worries, concerns, different things, and all of these will make a separate cluster. But all of these clusters of entities will gather and make one complete entity. And it's a hive mind, so they collect, they entangle, they become very close to each other, and it's a hive mind, and they will react on things. Now these entities, how they got in space and all, that's like one story, but like I was like looking at like, okay, where did he come from? What's your story? Why are you messing with this person? And a lot of times these smaller entities are just like people, just like kids. And they need love, they need support, they need help, just like us. They want to be accepted, they want to be approved of, they want to survive and stuff. But stuff happens, and just because they're in the hierarchy, just because there are beings above them, they'll command these little smaller beings and make them do things. It's the same case for these entities. And I'm like talking to them, looking into their past, what happened. And the things I find out is a lot of these clusters that make up one entire entity were once human. All of these entities, millions of them, were once human. They don't have to necessarily live on Earth. There are other humans in the multiverse, and it's like we're not special, okay? It's like Earth is not the only place with humans, but it's just like you find out that like hey, how do you end up here? And the way it works is like they've been reincarnating again and again. Karma, reincarnation, stuff like that. But the idea is that beings are stuck on the realm, no matter where they are, on Earth and other places, because there are other places just like Earth whose like people are suppressed there. They're like humans, might look different, might be not called Earth, or might be like called differently. But anyway, same story, same issues and stuff. And so these beings are entrapped, they keep reincarnating. With each reincarnation, they get more limited, they get more fractured, their soul becomes less and less, they forget, like lose all of their memories, and it happens again and again and again until the point where they become like body phaetons, like consciousness without a free will and control, and now they're just like thought forms. It's just a thought form, without the memory of their past, without different things. How many lives do you have to live and reincarnate to get to that place? And it's like it's kind of terrible to thinking that that's where the dark side wants us to go. And they trap us here on Earth. They want us to like hey, there's this belief, like we have religion, we have karma, we have different things. Just keep reincarnating, and they spin wildest stories just to make us believe that we have to come back, that we have to fix our sins and mistakes and be better and stuff. We always get better. We always learn things. It doesn't matter where you are in the multiverse. And there are tons and tons of ways to learn without suffering, and it's your choice. Anyway, so all of these beings, millions of them, make up one entire entity, and there's like tons of clusters, so you can like sort of collide them and like find out a lot about them. And all of them were once people who kept reincarnating to the point where they became nothing. And after that, they become enslaved by the entities, by the hierarchy, by the Greys, reptilians, and they're like, hey, okay, you're in our control, and these beings can't remember anything. They don't have memory of their past. So it really happens like, now they get like a mission, like, hey, here's the person, you have to mess with him, this is your mission. You will have anxiety, you will have this, and they sort of adjust the feeling state, adjust the emotion, adjust the thoughts to each cluster, and send them out to like mess with people. So these entities are not messing with people just because they want to. They're messing with us because they're being ordered to, and because they don't remember who they really are. And they need help just like us. A lot of entities we're dealing with wants love, wants approval, wants safe spot, wants to be like safe from all this hierarchy, wants to be safe from this control, just like we want to be the same way. So it's like, mutual understanding, like, hey, we're on the same ship, So with that being said, like, I was like working with these entities, like sort of releasing them, and like, hey, okay, I'm trying to get rid of them, and I'm like, okay, who's the leader? Who's controlling this whole thing? Because when it comes to the anti-cluster, there will be one leader who will control or keep everything organized, keep everything in order. And if you take out the leader, the order falls apart, and they're like, oh, they just cat around, like run around and like get away. So there has to be one person, one being, one entity in that cluster who will keep the control, like, hey, we have to mess with them. And they are the ones that are actually conscious about it. They are awake and they know what they're doing, and they're keeping the control of the smaller ones. So I found like, this sort of being I was like looking for. I'm like looking for, like, I didn't know exactly what it was, but I knew like, hey, it has to be the leader. I have to find him. And as I'm scanning, I cannot find it. It's like, where is it? I'm like, I know it has to be here. No one's answering. I cannot see anyone. And I'm like, they're probably disguising themselves or trying to hide themselves. So I'm looking for, and I try to like remember, like, hey, they might have been invisible. So I put the command, like, okay, remove all invisibility cloaks, or like, make them visible, or whatever, like anything like it that would make them visible. Boom. And there's this blob, like amoeba looking thing. And it's very intelligent. It is very intelligent being. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen much of those. It's like not the usual race, but I'm like looking into it, like, hey, here you are. Who are you? How do you work? And all that. So I'm being in touch with this and talking to this entity. And what I'm finding out is that this being is basically not only is this being keeping everything in order, it's like numbing down all the entities, all the thought forms, all those beings. So by that, like, it's like it has the commands from the higher ups, like, hey, this is what you're gonna do now. And basically this being is watching everyone, all of those entities, all those clusters, and sends out a signal, okay, we're gonna do this. And like, this, the higher ups give them an order, this blob will order them around, and like, hey, we're gonna do this, and the rest, and like, it's like being a shepherd to the sheep and stuff. So with that being the case, it has ways of to like sort of days off, like, make all of these entities like days off, and like as they live with the person, as they are connected to the person who is affected by the entities and stuff, the person does certain things in life that will trigger the entities. And basically, it is not the person being triggered. Like, oh, I'm gonna, this is water. Did I get it from a bottle? Or is it tap water? Is it good? Is it poison? And all of those what ifs and worries, that's not really me. It's all entities. And basically, at least in this case, all of the entities had lives where they died of some sort of tragic incident. It doesn't necessarily have to be tragic, but there were like variety of deaths. It's like food poisoning, didn't do this and that, like, like didn't dress up nicely, and that was like really killed me, that was too cold, that was too hot, like different variations, tons of scenarios in life where each of these beings die again and again and again, in multiple lifetimes. They keep reincarnating, they keep dying off to the point where they become nothing. And all of those tragic deaths, now as they're connected to this person, as he lives, this cluster of entities, they identify as the same being. They don't identify like, oh, I am the entity. No, all of these entities identify as me. I am Aquila, so all these Aquila related entities will name themselves Aquila. Like, so they will be like the same like thing. So as these entities will be in one, like they make one shape, they are reacting to what the person is doing, thinking, oh, it's me. And so as the person is taking a sip of water, the entity is like, hey, I died once from drinking water. Is that water? Is it okay? Am I gonna be poisoned? Am I gonna die? And like all of these worries, concerns arise, and it's like a wildfire. It's like a hive mind. One gets a reaction, and everyone's and they all take off with worries, concerns, and reactions and stuff, and it's crazy. But the way it works is all of these entities, they have a knowing of their past life. They can tap into it. They literally, as the person is doing various things in life every day, the entity is getting triggered of their past life. They are like literally getting back their memories because like they died because of that incident. They died because they did something. And now it's a trigger, like it's a reaction, like, oh, I died. Like they don't remember that they died from that. But the reaction, the way they reacted, the fear is the reaction of dying again. And like all of these entities, like because of the fear of death, they like make the person worry. So all of these entities are worrying and having tons of different reactions, and it's enhancing. And the person is not really having those reactions, but intuitively is picking up on entities. All of their reactions become his reactions. And so he doesn't know that it's not him. And he identifies us with the entities. And it's like sort of misunderstanding there, but like he has all of these tons of reactions and make it like gets him to the panic mode, to the fear, to the anxiety and stuff. And it's an easy way for the entities to control a person. And it's not even like the entities, like they react themselves because they're afraid. They think that they are that person, and if they're gonna do that action, that something's gonna happen. And so all of these triggers in life where we get the urge to do something and then we're doubting ourselves, like the first thought, the first intention, the first feeling state is yours. 5 seconds later, you're doubting yourself, and that's where the entities come in. It's just like weirdly enough, but they can really affect us, and we can pick up on them. Every one of us is intuitive, and to a certain point, like you just you can work on it, but you will feel a difference. So that being the case, I'm working on like removing these entities, and like okay, there's this blob, like that blob is controlling all of these beings. And I'm like, okay, unlock it. No, like I literally take sort of take care of the being, and it reappears again and again and again. And I send it to Galactic Vacuum, and it appears again, and I destroy it, and it appears again. I'm like, okay, it probably has reinstatement clause. And it's basically when we are removing soul contracts, one of the most important steps is removing reinstatement clauses. These are the agreements that keep coming back after revocation. So this entity will keep coming back after being destroyed. And no matter how many times I destroy it in tons of ways, they just keep coming back. And I'm like, okay, you have a way to see that. Like, you have that thing, I'm gonna like take it out. Boom, I take it out. And I take the entity out, and it's destroyed, and boom, reappears again. I'm like, what's that? And I'm like, I find another connection. It's like mirror parallel world. It's like in soul contract revocation process, we are removing all kinds of mirrors. So this entity had a parallel reality, and it's basically a mirror world of right now, of this present like realm. And what they're doing, their world is 1 second behind. So they can literally like watch a movie of what's going on, and they're like, oh, so that's what they're gonna do. And they have like that 1 second to change their actions, to escape like consequences, to escape like all the problems and stuff. And like they're like seeing this. So I jump to that parallel like mirror world. I take it out, like boom, gone. And the sanity is gone. The cluster is gone. Quiet. But the whole concept is like, imagine a genie in a bottle. A genie is a powerful being who can do anything. With just a thought, he can manifest like thought and intention, and he can manifest anything. That is you. You are the genie. And the bottle is like ant farm. So all of the genies are the ants, and the bottle is the farm. And so, like, people watching the ant farm would be archons. Just imagine how messed up it is. We're powerful beings locked up in this farm, and they know how powerful we are. And how messed up it is, because like they're afraid that we're gonna wake up. And that's all it takes. It's not going through the grid, it's not escaping the stuff, it's just waking up. That's all it takes. Waking up and knowing what's going on, knowing about your powers, knowing what you can do. That alone is enough to beat them. And they don't want that. So they will try to do everything they can to suppress us in lots of ways. Mess up our daily life, cause the insanities, cause like all these incidents, and they will do everything to sort of divert our attention, cause these massive fears, coronavirus, like going to hell, different things, massive fear. It's all like using fear to control people, and it's all like, no, like, hey, they're literally directing our attention to distract us from like important things, working on ourselves and getting better and learning more and like waking up and all. And they don't want that because they know how powerful we are. They know that we are a big threat, and they're afraid because unlike us, they cannot manifest things. They cannot create things with thought and intention. They have to take years and resources to create something, to build something, and like, okay, we need a spaceship. And they go to a planet, they get the resources, and they pull the ship until they're done, and they have AI, and they have tons of, like, billions of beings helping out them. But it just takes you being awake and conscious. And once you know the truth, right now, you don't even have to get out of body. You do not have to get out of body to create a multiverse of your own. All you have to do is think about it. Like, okay, I want to have my own planet. And all you have to do is like think what it would be like and have intention to create it. You can create it in your own mind, but you are creating that thing in the multiverse, and it will exist. It will be there. And if you make it available for others, other beings can find that place. You don't even have to get out of body. You don't even have to die to drop dead or like be free of this place. All you have to do is be awake of all your possibilities and abilities and what's going on here. And you are unbeatable. So, that being said, coming back to the cases, it's not just like the entities messing with the person. I removed like these entities and I'm tracking down like, where they came from, are there any connections? And I find this like agreement where entities have a backdoor to a person's space. So basically, it's not that visible, like it's sort of encrypted, like in the programming terms, like where you encrypt the information and stuff. But basically, they literally encrypt their incoming, and it's like sort of, it looks like our energy. It's like you cannot tell the difference. It's like complete mimicking, but they have sort of energy behind a person's like neck and stuff, and so all of these entities will use up a person's energy to open up a portal, a backdoor, where these entities can come in. So they don't even need to break the energy sphere. The energy around us, they like, okay, they can use our energy to create a portal where they, like, these entities will come in, and then they can, like, be close to the body and, like, suck on it and stuff like that, like, different things. But it's just, like, amazing to find the ways they will try to get close to us, to mess with us, to, like, affect us, and, like, it's crazy. But like, so I just like sort of like all it takes is just like visualizing. I visualize, oh, okay, like sort of deprogramming. I take out this backdoor, so I like remove all the traces. I sort of make a double like layers and making a program that whoever gets close will be basically redirected to the galactic vacuum for transmutation and like different things. So like different ways of solving it. Like it's cool, but like those beings are like relentless. They just keep coming at it and stuff. So I'm like, okay. Interesting case, but this person still keeps having problems. Like I'm just like, this is just one session. I'm like focusing on the person's issues and stuff. And, like this is not finished. So it's not like getting back his soul aspects that were like fragmented and stuff. I'm like, this is something's missing, and I have this thought, and I have this like very sharp headache, like one thought of possibility and a very sharp headache that hits me here, and I'm like, oh, it must be something, because like usually when I'm doing these sessions, if I pick up on something and they really don't like it, they literally will do anything, make stuff in your environment, cause headaches. Basically, they can just use direct energy weapons to affect your energy, like cause like body aches and stuff. And all it takes is for you to take your attention off, like, oh, a headache, I need to take Advil. Oh, what happened? Like, they're just trying to distract us. So my mission, like, oh, headache. I picked up on something. So, like, I'm really happy when that happens, because, like, I can track them, and they just gave themselves out. So, I'm tracking this out, and, like, I found out, like, I retracked this person's past, like, and he's amazing. He's, like, one of the powerful beings. He's taking care of like a lot of civilizations in our, like, in the galaxy, in different dimensions. He's taking care of like all these mantis who are like colonizing the planets and stuff. And I'm like, wow, it's like he's doing really good. And then one of his bodies gets captured by the mantis, like between space and time, and they sort of keep fracturing his energy and like different things. Like he's in stasis, so I free him, like get him out. But then I track him that all of these beings are making sure that that was just sort of set up to get our attention there, while the real thing like happens here on Earth. And what they do is like, we talk about implants, and they can be physical, like, oh, we were abducted and now we have physical implants and stuff. That's one thing. There's also astral etheric implants, different things like where you literally, your astral body gets kidnapped and then they can mess you up and they can plant different memories and plant like the dreams and like different things. They can do a lot. So like that's another case, like lots of scenarios. So what happens with this person is that he gets a soul contract implant. It's basically like, oh, okay, soul contracts are the agreements that we make before incarnating on Earth. So, we make agreements before coming here, before getting our vessel and stuff, and that's cool. And then we get agreements in our daily life. But this being got his agreements implanted while living. So one day he's like doing great. He's living his life. He's doing his best, like athlete and stuff. He's like amazing being. And he wakes up next morning, and his whole life is upside down. Everything changed, and all of a sudden he's like, huge crash. So like, what happened? Overnight, he just went to sleep, and his whole life changed for the worse. So I'm tracking down all these things, and what I found out is that in his sleep, he had one of these implants, where they retrace one of his past lives things. So basically, in past lives, he's helping out. In one of his past lives, or lots of his past lives, he's helping out a lot of beings in the multiverse, like a lot of civilizations. And with that, he has the ability to sort of clean the planets out of any entities, out of any like colonizations and stuff like that. Like he's like amazing. So over here on Earth, they sort of redirect it, and instead of cleansing the entities, he gets this implant that will start sucking out the entities out of everyone's space. So as he gets up and starts walking around and like goes to the street and town and stuff, he will automatically start sucking entities out of every person. And that is based like out on like the agreement, like, oh, I'll be altruistic and I will like be empathic, and if anyone has pain, I'll be the person that will take it because I will defend you. It's a heroic agreement, like, wow, you are an amazing person, thank you for helping us out. But it's a setup, because you can help people, you can be there for them, you can be empathic, but this way it's set up, instead of all these entities like going away, it's attaching to the person, and now it's entity after entity and tons of beings coming to him and just overwhelming him and sort of like really destroying his life. So all of a sudden, one morning he wakes up and tons of those beings are around him, making up this one huge entity. And so like just like being able to retract that, like retrace it, how they make these agreements to have you agree to that, like you're being heroic, you're being passionate, you're being like so good, and it's all set up to mess you up, to take away your abilities, to mess up your life. So being able to remove that, to remove all those agreements, like I literally removed like the agreement that he can do that, and also reprogram it. So reprogramming, like my reprogramming was, he will be attracting all these entities, but instead of getting it to himself, there will be a redirection where all these entities come and go to the galactic vacuum for transmutation. So like he can literally suck out the entities out of other people's lives and help them, but he will not get these entities. Those entities will be redirected to transmute, to become something better, to finally get back their consciousness in life and stuff. And like that's one of the things. And in it all, I sort of install the thing where once these entities get transmuted, all the life essence, all the energy, all the soul fragments that were taken from people will be given back, and like like that's one of the things, like, and I think it's better, like instead of I feel like these beings, they cause us to agree to tons of things, and a lot of times those agreements can be set up, even though it might seem good, like, oh, it's a good agreement, it's helping me to live. A lot of times it's a setup. Even though it might feel good, you might feel like, whoa, like it makes me feel better, like I'm a good person. It's all a setup, because eventually there's this sort of thing we don't see. We're not reading between the lines, and we think like, oh yeah, it's cool. but it's all set up to make it work for you. You don't have to agree to be a good being. You don't have to agree to love someone. You don't have to agree to do anything. You can do it because you want to do it. That's all it takes. You don't have to agree to anything. And if there are agreements, there's probably something behind that is like using that to control you, to mess with you and stuff like that. So that being said, there's a lot of work I did, and in it all, I was like retracting how these entities are like sort of monitoring us. I think I've mentioned this in the past, but I'm not sure how many of you watched my like really early videos. But there was a time where I mentioned it's I sort of uh, saw it again in this session. But one of the things that happens, like, there are entities inside our bodies, like nano size. You don't have to think about it, like not even like big size. Like they're like with one of those bacteria and even smaller. But what happens is, like, when those entities come into life, they can literally be here, track our thoughts, our feeling states, our emotions, they're literally like monitoring us 24/7. And it's not just like our energy and stuff like that, but they literally monitor like what you're passionate about, what you like, what you don't like, what triggers you, how you react to things, and all of that information is being sent out to their like headquarters. And so, like, spaceships, underground bases, like different places. But like I go to those, like, tracking out like where the information goes, like to take it out. And what I found is like the whole planet, the whole, like, Earth, and like different places, all of the beings out here were being monitored and messed with. They have tons of information about us, like everything, absolutely everything. And like with all that information, they're basically, it's like when you look at Google Analytics, and you don't necessarily need to like have that specifically, but basically they literally show all the stuff you did in the past, the ups and downs, how you felt, how you, like, all the good feelings, all the bad feelings, what triggered you, what didn't trigger you, what you like, how your stuff and like your habits change throughout your life and stuff. They show you all the past, and like it shows what happens daily, and even the future. Like they even like sort of by the stats predict what's gonna happen later. And with that, they can affect, like, oh, okay, like this person is gonna go out, like, you have a plan, like what you're gonna do tomorrow or in a week, and you're gonna go to the gig and stuff. And so they literally foresee what you're gonna do. They foresee, like, what you like, how your habits might change, and they can impact that. And they like, okay, we know what you're gonna do. So they're literally what you would call Murphy's Law. And you can, like, oh, I have to do this. And on a day when you have to do something, they will set up all events, and it's going to be a chain of events, like one after another, to trigger you. Like, oh, your car doesn't work, and there's like stoplights thing, and like traffic accident, like business with relationships, different things that can happen and trigger you again and again and again. And it's just a chain of events to make sure that, like, you want to do something, and they have information they can work against you. And basically, the way it works is just like after Lelouch. They want to make sure that they can keep feeding on us. So their mission is to get us going to the place where we're being depressed, we're not doing so good in life, like, so that they can connect to Lelouch. And they're giving us some breathing time. They can, like, sort of get to a place where we're suicidal, and that's where, like, they really get the suicidal energy, the sexual energy, where they, like, they mess up your sexual life, or like you succubus, incubus and stuff. Relationships, when you love someone, that's like really strong feeling states. And when you love someone and then your relationship messes up, they literally get a lot from that, a lot too. So with all that, they're making sure that they can affect you in those places in life where you really care, where you have more emotional tone and stuff, and energy. And basically, when you're really crushed, they will back off and give you some breathing time, so that you could recharge and rehabilitate, and like, oh, okay, I'm feeling better. Like a few days passed, you're past your emotions and stuff, and then they can crash again and again and again, and then they back off and let you breathe and like sort of restore your energy, and like then they can crash again. So it's like watching that stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy how they work, but like, just think about it. Like, how much do they need to monitor us 24/7, work against us to make sure that we are enslaved, that we are trapped, that we are sleeping, and like not aware of what's going on in our reality? It's crazy. And I think, like, if every one of us can help ourselves, it doesn't even like don't even try to change the world. Like, that will come later. But work on yourself, make your life better, improve your abilities, work on yourself, get your life better. And just by doing that, just by being aware and awake, and like just learning a lot, because once you're gonna die, you're not gonna get smarter. You are gonna be with what you learn from now. So learn as much as possible, and get out and go far away and stuff. But anyway, you're a powerful being. Keep learning, keep helping yourself and others if you want to, but like work on yourself, and I'm gonna work on myself. So I just wanted to share some of the information, the things I found, and hopefully it's useful. Like, let me know what you think. Let me know if you've had any similar experiences, if you can relate to this or not. Like, I'm interested in finding out. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you next video. Bye.